Welcome to this edition of the SAU Report. I'm Jordan Babineaux.
And I'm Mary Ligon.
On today's show, we have Mule Rider head football coach Steve Quinn. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
What do you feel is your most important responsibility as a head coach?
Well, I think as any head coach, the most important responsibility you have is to your players. Obviously, we want them to perform well on the football field, but the biggest thing we want them to do is learn how to be successful in life. And sometimes our players think we're just throwing a lot of philosophy and words out there at them that have nothing to do with winning football games. But, the thing that, since I've been in coaching, has probably meant the most to me is to be able to see those players come back. Just like this week, I've had several players, even an equipment manager, who call me up wanting to come back and wanting to be in my office. And those are the things that mean something. Those are the long-term things. So we have a responsibility to get those guys graduated. We have a responsibility to make sure that they leave here with the intangible tools necessarily to be successful, like discipline, pride in what they do, and a work ethic.
Right.
What is your official title here at SAU, and how did you earn it?
Well, I think it was probably more of a gift than it was earned, but my official title here is a head football coach. I'm also an instructor of HKR as well. And, I don't know. This is one of those jobs that I was here as an assistant coach from 97 to 99 with Coach Steve Roberts. I was the assistant head coach. We left and went to Northwestern State, Louisiana together. I was the assistant head coach down there. And this job came back open again about 8 months later, and I got a phone call from the athletic director, Jay Adcox, at the time. They wanted to know if I was interested in the job. And I said sure, because Magnolia was a place I wanted to raise my family, and I enjoyed the people that were around here. And so we were able to work it out, and less than a week later, I was the head football coach. So that's kind of how I came to be here.
So did you have to go in any kind of procedures prior to getting the job, as far as interviews or coaching experience? What kind of things did Coach Adcox look for?
Well, I think the fact that I was here before was the thing that made it a lot easier. We didn't go through probably all of the normal procedures that you would think of, the application, the interview process, the narrowing down of the field, and that type of thing that you normally would go through. The thing we were able to do was, because of my past experience here, we were able to bypass a little bit of that. I was able to present myself and visit with then President Dr. Gamble and Coach Adcox, and we were able to come to agreement on where we wanted to head this football program, what the vision of this university was for its athletic department and the football program, and it's really worked out well. So right now, I've been very, very pleased with where the university's going and what we're doing, and been really happy to be back with these guys here at Southern Arkansas University.
Has athletics always been a big part of your life?
Well, I think it has. Growing up, from the time I was big enough to walk, we were playing baseball during the summer, we were playing football during the fall, we were playing basketball in the winter. We did it. I didn't say I was a great athlete now, but we always were doing something. We lived outside the whole year playing athletics. Always wanted to be if I had any athletic ability at all, I always wanted to play professional football, baseball, basketball, anything. But like they say, those who can't do coach, and that's what I'm doing now. So, it's been enjoyable. It's something I've always wanted to do. Did I think it was going to be a career choice for me? No, I really did not.
Well, Coach, let's talk about the Riders for a minute. Coming into the season prior to camp, you stressed on relationships. How important is that for the team to have good chemistry going into the season? Well,
I think it's very important. All the teams that I've been around, I've been very, very fortunate. This is my 18th season. So out of 17 years, I've only coached 2 losing seasons. And so I've been very fortunate to be around a lot of good teams, a lot of good football players, because those are guys that really make it happen. I tell everybody, I don't block, I don't tackle, I don't run a football, I don't catch a football. I'm out there trying to teach guys how to do it. And I think the team chemistry is the biggest part of it. If a team feels that it can do anything, it can accomplish anything, and if it has enough talent level to do it, then it will win games that maybe it shouldn't win. And so the relationships are very important. Now, you walk a little bit of a fine line on that relationship. One day I got a little irritated in practice, and I told our football team, I said, we'd make a great youth group, but do we know how to line up and beat anybody?
Right.
And so there's a fine line between that. You want those guys caring for each other. You want those guys being accountable to each other, but by the same token, you want them to understand how to fight for each other. And if somebody's not carrying their load, then the other part of the team has got to pick them up and make them carry their load, or they're not going to be an asset to that football team. I always tell them, if you're not an asset to this football team, then you're a liability, and we don't need liabilities. That probably is a little harder than it sounds, but you've really got to be able to define what that relationship is. It's great to have a bunch of lovey-dovey guys that really care about each other. That doesn't win you football games. Guys who are accountable to each other and guys who respect each other, those are the things that are going to win you football games.
What about the relationships here at SAU? Do you have a good relationship with the students and faculty?
Well, I think that was probably the number one draw that brought me back to SAU. I had wanted to coach Division I football all through my career, and I had a chance to do that, and I enjoyed it. And it was we had a good season, and things weren't bad, and I enjoyed working for Coach Roberts again at Northwestern. But I think the thing that really probably brought me back to Southern Arkansas University was just the people. Being able to interact with these students is something that I enjoy. Being able to interact with the faculty is something I enjoy. The administration, and honestly, people really probably don't realize what they have here at Southern Arkansas University. The ability to go in, when I deal with all the people, whether it's in the business office or whether it's in any of the departments in education, whether it's in administration, I can go in and I can present what I need, and they are very cordial and very easy to work with. And to me, I think this is one of the most student-friendly universities I've ever been associated with. So to be around those kind of people, that's something that you can't really replace, and that's something you can't put a price tag on.
Right. What do you think about the school spirit?
Well, I think our school spirit's pretty good. But of course, I've been like this. I've been in the school of philosophy that if you want people to support you and you want people to back you, then you need to win. Right. And everybody gets uptight and talks about fair weather fans. Well, my goodness, nobody wants to go out and support a loser. Right. There are times when teams are down. There are times when they may not even play well. There's no guarantee that we're going to play well every week. And we had our down weeks last year that kept us out of the national playoff picture, and that hurt us a little bit. But if you really want to create excitement, win. And we're not a win at all costs program necessarily, but I think you've got to win. You've got to win with integrity, and you've got to win with character. And our guys need to be going to class. Our guys need to be role models in class. They don't need to be thugs. I can't stand the dumb jock image. When I find one that's acting like a dumb jock, I'm going to try to get him in line pretty quick, because that's something that does not represent us well, does not represent this university well. So it also is detrimental to your school spirit. Your students, and one of the best rules that the NCAA came out with was when they did away with the athletic dorm, and our students live among the rest of the student body. I want our guys interacting with the rest of the student body. I want them being a part of that, because it's a lot easier for this university student body to get in and support us if they're people they know. If we're just a bunch of hired mercenaries out there who are here on scholarship and just out there to win football games at this university, you're not going to have a lot of school spirit, and that's not what we want. We want our guys involved in as many things as they can get involved in, being involved with as many people as they can be involved with, and we want them to be seen around campus, but we want to be seen in the right light. And I think as a result of that, what you're seeing in a lot of our student bodies, a lot of school spirit. Obviously this Valdosta game is going to be a very huge game, but the biggest thing that's been impressive is the way that everybody around town has really picked up on it, the way everybody around the university has picked up on it. And that's the thing that tells me that we're making progress as a football program and as an athletic department. And so I think the biggest thing about having school spirit, I think that's something you earn, and people don't just give that to you. And our coaches in the classroom, I enjoy the fact that our coaches teach. I enjoy teaching, so it gives me a chance to be out there and see some prettier faces than the ugly ones I see at practice every day. So it's kind of nice to get out there and interact. And so what you do when you go to class is you see these people saying, "Hey coach, y'all get them this week. Hey coach, feel good about you. Hey coach, y'all had a good game." That's what you're looking for. That's the interaction, because now when we go out there and win a game, we want it to be Southern Arkansas winning a game.
Well, Coach, where do you see the future of Southern Arkansas football program and the university itself in the future?
Well, I think right now the university is really on a growth mode, and I don't think that's a bad thing. People want to be associated with things that are growing. People want to be associated with things that are getting better. We try to keep consistency in our program, but we're always striving to up the level of what we are in all aspects, whether it's academics, whether it's on the football field, whether it's the type of young man that we bring in this program and try to motivate into this program. So, I think everything is headed toward a positive end here. This is probably going to be one of the faster growing universities, I believe, in the state. I feel good about where we're at, and a lot of that's been built over a lot of years on the backs of a lot of students and the backs of a lot of faculty and administration that have really poured a lot of themselves into this university. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited to be here. And I'm glad to be part of an administration that has some vision. And, I think where there's a vision, then people are going to be excited to be around it.
By winning all these football games, you're getting to be a lot more well-known, and there's going to be a lot more students looking at SAU. What's something that you have to say to them?
Well, I think the biggest thing is obviously you want to go to a place where you're going to fit in and you're going to have a chance to be successful. And that's one of the things, I said I've coached a lot of years, and I've coached very few losing seasons in all those years. And the thing I've always been able to do is be someplace where I had a chance to be successful. And you want to be a place where you can fit in. That's one of the reasons where I'm back here at Southern Arkansas, because I feel like I fit in here. I like the people here, and I think the best advice that I can give them is, and hopefully we'll continue to get some exposure for this university so that people can see what we've got down here. We tend to get forgotten from time to time around the rest of the state,
Right.
But people really need to get down here and look and see what we have, because what we have is something really special that you don't get at a lot of other places. And, my best advice to them is go someplace where you're going to have a chance to be successful. And I feel like this is a place where everybody's going to have a chance to be successful.
Well, Coach, did you always want to coach college ball, or was it something that kind of grew on you as your coaching career came along?
Well, when I got out of college and finished my undergraduate, my first thought was I want to get out in the world and make some money,
right.
Like every other college student. So, but after I kind of got to look, and my brother was a graduate assistant at the University of Georgia, and I said, I think that's something I want to do. I really feel like I want to be a college coach, and I've had the good fortune of being able to do that. Now, I've also coached 4 years on the high school level, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but this was something I've always wanted to do, and every once in a while when I get a little bit down, or I get a little bit tired, or I don't feel like coming to work that morning, I really kind of look around and say, hey, God is letting me live my dream. And this is what I've always dreamed about doing, and this is what I want to do with my life, and I've been very, very fortunate, very, very blessed to be able to do that.
Well, what about professional? Did you ever consider coaching in the NFL?
Oh no, I'm a guy. When it comes down to future plans, I kind of let God make those for us a little bit. Honestly, I told somebody the other day, I have never really gotten a job I applied for. The jobs that I have gotten have been jobs that people have recommended me for, or given my name to somebody, and I got a phone call from them. And all the ones I think I applied for and went through the normal processes, I probably didn't get an interview for. So no, that's not something I've really ever considered. And a lot of it is because I really love interacting with young people of this age, not only on the football team, but also on the college campus, because the college campus is something special. College football is special. The NFL is a great game, and there are a lot of great players and a lot of great coaches, but college football is really a special thing, and it's a special atmosphere, and that's something I've always wanted to be a part of.
How would you describe the difference or the transition from high school to college?
Well, the biggest difference is I get to recruit my athletes. In high school, you don't. You're kind of stuck with, whatever was born in the area 15, 16 years ago, or what moves in. So, that's kind of the nice thing it's a two-edged sword, I guess, really, because, I can't go to my athletic director and say, well, our players just aren't very good this year. And he's going to turn around and tell me, well, you're the one that recruited them and got them here. So in high school, you could always use that little bit of an out, well, we, just didn't quite have as good a kids as what we had in years past. But that's probably the biggest difference that I notice. Football's football. I came out of Baylor University. Boy, I thought I really knew a lot of football. I went to Pascagoula, Mississippi as the offensive coordinator, and boy, I had all this new innovative stuff I was going to do, and we were playing the last game of the season for the conference championship, and we lost our starting quarterback. I found out real quick I wasn't nearly as innovative as I thought I was. Those old boys on the other side knew what was going on, and they knew a lot more football than I did. So as far as the coaching goes, no, there's not a lot of difference, but it's just different in the recruiting area.
Well, Coach, I know that you was a graduate assistant at Baylor, where you attended grad school. You coached at Pascagoula High School, as you said, just to name a few. You coached at Northwest in 2000. Just kind of elaborate on your coaching career and how you came about to getting your first head coach job here.
Oh gosh, I'm kind of an ad for Ryder rental trucks. I talked to my wife the other day. We've been married going on 13 years, and we're living in our 11th house.
Wow.
So we've moved around quite a bit, and And in order to move up sometimes in this business at the college level, that's the most difficult thing, is you've got to move from place to place. I think this is the 7th coaching job that I've had. This is a 6th state that I've lived in. So, I finished my playing career at Ouachita Baptist University. And then from there, I went to Baylor University, where I was a graduate assistant. From there, I was the offense coordinator at Pascagoula High School, which at the time was the largest high school in the state of Mississippi. Very fortunate, still got some guys playing in the NFL off of those teams that I coached there. So we had some great athletes, and it was a great experience because that was where I learned how to deal with young men. Right. And I learned that was probably the biggest experience I got out of high school, was knowing that I had to deal with their situations. I wasn't an X's and O guy anymore. I had to be a people person, and that's where I learned that. And from there, I was the offensive line coach at Northwest Missouri State for a year, then became the offensive coordinator at Eastern New Mexico for 3 years, and then came back here with Coach Roberts, obviously, from 97 to 99, had a great run with him. Great group of guys, Coach John Bland, Tony Gilbert, Steve Roberts. That's a staff that was very, very special. And I don't know if I will ever have a staff that's quite as special as that group was. And, of course, when you're 26-5 over a 3-year stretch, anything's going to be special there. But, from there we went to Northwestern, and then I came back to listen a year later. So it's been a long trek.
Well, how can you say, as a coach, is it the same week in and week out, being consistent as a coach as it is a player, or is it more of a burden on you as a coach?
Well, I think consistency is the biggest thing that you've got to really work for. We put high expectations on our players. Right. We're very demanding of them. Late is absolutely not tolerated. Not being there for breakfast check is not tolerated. There's a very low tolerance, and the thing we do is we set expectations and standards. I don't even like to call them rules, because that's what they are. Right. Everyone is going to have expectations on their life when they get out of college. When you go to take a job, when you go to interview for a job, they're going to have certain expectations from you, and we're trying to get our players to do that. Now, in order for players to be able to meet expectations, you really need to be consistent in those expectations. That way we try to make sure that, yes, breakfast check is the same time every morning, every day of the week. Practice time is the same time every day of the week. Right. So that there's less chances for them to mess up. And honestly, you're dealing with a young person now that has had very, very little consistency in their life a lot of times, because there's just so many pulls on it, so many time demands. And so being able to teach that consistency it's a little bit of a struggle, because I'm somewhat ADD. I'm a guy that shoots from the hip. I make it up as I go. I'm not necessarily Mr. Organization. I'm a guy that keeps it all in his head, and that's why I'm sometimes tough to work for, because I've got it in my mind and I don't always translate it over to my assistants exactly how I want it. But I've got a great group now that does a good job of that. But I really got to work to keep that consistency in our program, and I think that's what young men respond to. It's a lot easier for them when they're very consistent week to week.
Going back to the before question, you've done all these things and coached at all these other schools. What are your goals here at SAU?
Oh gosh, probably my biggest goal is to make an impact on these young people's life. That's the biggest thing that I want to do. The thing that when I first started coaching, the thing I wanted to do was be the next offensive guru. I was going to be the guy that really knew how to out-scheme everybody and X and O everybody. And when it really came down to it, the one thing that meant the most to me was those kids. Mm-hmm. And those now my players that are playing for me now probably won't tell you that. The thing I want to do is come back in my office 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years later. And those are the things that mean something to you. So our biggest goal right now is for our guys to be able to get out of here and be successful once they leave here. As far as a program, our goal is to represent this university well. I can't always put that into wins and losses, because, hey, we're out there taking a chance like everybody else. People don't go down to the local bank while the loan officer's writing out a loan paper and start cheering one way or the other. He doesn't get an official flagging him all the time. He doesn't have 5,000 people screaming at him while he's sitting there writing out a contract. We do. So there's a little bit of a little bit unknown in our particular program, but as long as we stay consistent with the type of young man we're recruiting, the type of program we're running, and we're going to stay consistent with our expectations, then I think we're going to be able to be a program that represents this university well, and it's something that people will get excited about. It's something that people want to be associated with, and that's what we're really looking to do now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Coach, I have to ask you, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but can this team be the best team here in SAU history?
Well, I think they have a chance to. I mean, they really do. They're going to have to win 11 games to do it. Now, that's very, very difficult. Right. I think what you would consider the best team, I don't know, probably several criteria, did they win a conference championship? Did they win a national championship? Did they win the most games that have ever been won in a single season here? Did they score the most points and give up the least points? There's a lot of criteria on that probably, but I think they absolutely do. Now, like I said, it's very difficult. It's a week to week. This is a very tough conference that we play in, and in order for them to do that, they really got to stay even keel. My guys probably get tired of hearing me say that, but it's just focus and attitude every week, and it's every day we're going to get up, put our work shoes on, and we're going to go to work, and that's the only way that we're going to be able to achieve that. Do I think we can? Sure, absolutely. Right now we're 3-0. We have an opportunity. And the only thing we can ask for, one thing that I've found out, is all we can ask God for is an opportunity.
Right.
And then it's up to us to take advantage of that opportunity. And He's given us that opportunity. And hopefully these guys feel their destiny. Hopefully they feel the mission that they're on right now. And I think they'll respond to it. Been very proud of this team so far.
What's the best thing about this team? The one thing that stands out about them?
Well, I think they're a very diverse team that comes in and works together. That's the great thing about football. That's the true joy of coaching, is you take all these guys from 4 different states, probably 5 different states, I think, that we have players from, come from all different size schools, very diverse socioeconomic backgrounds, even racial backgrounds. And you see these guys come together, and to watch them interact with each other and how they pull for each other. Now, they're not all best buddies and don't all run together, but to see men working from very diverse backgrounds for one common cause is something that's really kind of special. And people that don't coach, they don't always get to see that. And that's the fun part about this. And the few people that I let in and around our team and kind of let them into that intimate part of our team that most people don't see, they're just amazed with how all of that operates. They kind of stand wide-eyed, a little awed about how that works. And I said, but it's just a dynamic that's about this team. And that's what's really kind of special about this group.
Well, what kind of advice can you give current HKR majors or even education majors who are considering going into the profession of coaching?
Get under the best person you can and learn. I mean, that's what I did. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about the paycheck right off the bat. You're going to get by. You're used to being a poor college student. It's okay to do that. The best thing you can do is get under somebody that can mentor you, whether you're an HKR major who's not going to coach or whether you are a coach. I've been very, very fortunate. Every coach that I've worked under or played under was somebody that I took something from that I use now currently in my job. And that's the thing you need to do. Get in the best program you can, get in the best system you can, get under the best people you can, and then shut your mouth, do what they want you to do, and learn. The best advice I got was from my college football coach, Buddy Benson at Ouachita. He said, Steve, there are 2 things that will keep you from ever getting fired. He says, you always beat the boss to the office. He said, you be the first one in the office every morning, and which that's something I've always tried to do. He says, and then you be available whenever somebody wants something. And whenever a head coach wanted something from me, it was done, or I got it done immediately. And if people do that, they're going to be successful. Whether they know a lot of football or whether they know a lot about their job, they're going to be successful if they do those 2 things. So I really kind of held on to that advice, and I would give that same advice to people going out into the field. But learn, 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 learn. The best way to do that is watch somebody that's good at it do it.
Would you be willing to be somebody's mentor and kind of talk them through the coaching process, or do you consider yourself one now to your students?
Well, I would hope that I am one now. I've got 4 full-time assistant coaches under me. I've got 5 graduate assistants and student assistants. Hopefully that's something that happens in our everyday process. Now is it just me sitting down being, the guy giving them the ultimate football wisdom, coaching wisdom? That's not happening. The way that you do it is you pick it up on the everyday observations. How do we do things? And understand the reasons why I do things and why we do things a certain way in our program. But no, I love to mentor. That's the thing that means more to you. When I left Eastern New Mexico University, and this is what really sets it puts it all in perspective. When I left there, we had a kicker by the name of Brian Cocking who had to leave school. And everybody thought he was weird. And I never, being a kicker, I shouldn't say that. They're a different breed, they handle a different kind of pressure. But, he was a young man that had some issues. He had some issues at home and different things. And, he's one of those guys that I didn't spend a lot of time with necessarily. But when I left, I got a letter from him. And he thanked me for being the one guy that paid him any attention. And all I really did was just the little things every day. And I'd go over and pick at them and mess with them a little bit, which I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
The guys that play for me know, you know. And I got a letter from him explaining how that I had filled a role that his father had left void. And it's something that you do unconsciously. And those are things I still got. It sits in my jewelry box to this day. That's why I do this. That's why I'm here. And if you're in the education field, if you're in the coaching field, and that's not why you do it, you really need to reevaluate yourself.
Right.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you for joining us today on the SAU
Thank you.
report. I want to congratulate you on your season so far. The Riders are 3-0, and I wish you the best of luck for the season.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for tuning in to this edition of the SAU report. I'm Jordan Babineaux.
And I'm Mary Ligon.